What's up, guys? So, haven't posted in a little while. I think it's been like a month or so. I was going to do an update real quick on what we've got going on with the truck so far. I'm going to try to do another video later on about the turbo stuff. This video is going to be primarily about the throttle body. And if y'all haven't done so already, please like and subscribe if you like this channel and this kind of content. It really helps me with the algorithm and everything. And if y'all have any suggestions on anything you want to see or that I'm not going over that you'd like to see, please leave a comment down below and I'll try to cover that. Hopefully I can get some tuning videos sourced together for this. Right now I'm kind of in the process of putting this turbo on. I don't know if you can see that in the background, but there it is. We'll go over that in the next video. Hopefully I can have that posted in a couple days. I'm going to go over the throttle body in this one, like I said. So I've had some questions about that. I've been posting on some Facebook groups because I had some questions about turbo stuff, and some people mentioned that in the comments on those posts about what kind of throttle body setup I'm running. So I'm going to go over that in this video in case anybody else is wondering. I kind of went over it a little bit in the other video, but I'm going to show the final result because we got it mounted on and everything. And I just wanted to go over that a little bit. So this is kind of where we're at right now. Like I said, I'm going to go over all this later, but for right now, this is kind of the primary focus of this video. As you can see, we got a 92mm throttle body, and it's just got the big butterfly, the big single butterfly, and we use the 90-degree elbow. And I had to use these spacers. It's a total of 3-inch spacer. I got one 2-inch right here and one 1-inch right here. Now the reason I had to do that was to get it high enough over the radiator hose and the alternator bracket. As you can see, the alternator bracket's right here and it's pretty dang close. And so was the coolant hose. Well, it was. But what we've done is we've cut down this thermostat housing here. And we kind of put an angle on it. Let me go on the other side so you can see it a little better. You can see we put that 90-degree in it.
You tripping, bro. You tripping.
Kind of get it away from the throttle body. It kind of goes underneath of it now. And we got a 90-degree little elbow to come off of this to kind of turn like that. I actually have it sitting over here. As you can see, kind of goes something like that. And it goes up on there. And once it's all the way on there, it doesn't touch anything. Right now it is touching, but it's kind of a pain in the butt to put on. So take my word for it. It does clear everything. You can see there's plenty of room once it's on there. And we're planning on taking this, putting a 90 on this pipe and kind of coming around and going to the intercooler. We'll have to do some cutting and everything, but that's the plan as of right now. The biggest reason I went with this style of throttle body and this elbow and everything is because in order to do the other way of using a stock throttle body, like from a Magnum, it's about $300 to get one of those throttle bodies that flow enough. Under boost, it's going to make a big difference. I'll make more power with less boost, essentially. So I wanted to make sure my throttle body was up to the task, and I wasn't just making a bunch of boost and not really picking up much power because it's a restriction. So I will say putting this throttle body on it made a huge difference over the stock one. The stock one flowed about 650 CFM. That's what I've kind of gathered online and everything. And this one's about 1100. So it's actually a little bit big, but it should be plenty for what we're doing here. And I will say we took this thing out on the road and it definitely made a difference. It seemed to really wake it up. So if anybody's considering a bigger throttle body and you're kind of running a similar combo, I would suggest it because it did help. It was worth the money for me to do it. Now we had to do some modifying to get this to work. You can't really buy these parts, you kind of got to make them. So if you're kind of decent at fabricating, you can do this. If not, then I'll just show you what I did, and maybe you can come up with something on your own about how to do it, you know. But there's really not a whole lot of parts for these things, so as far as that goes, to make it work. So I'm just going to show you what I did. Well, not me personally. My dad actually did all this fabricating stuff. He's a lot better than that I am. But anyway, you can see we took this piece. It's got these slots in it. I don't know where we got this from, really. It was just a piece we had laying around, just a bracket. But we got these bolts going through it. That way we can kind of slide it back and forth right here. Because if you know anything about these throttle valves for the transmission, that's what this is. It's for the transmission. As this opens, it pulls that lever. You'll know that these things have to be right. If they're not right, then you'll burn the transmission up. If you're running a newer transmission or a manual valve body, you don't really got to worry about this. But for me, I'm not running a manual valve body at the moment, and I do have to worry about it. So that's how we got that bracket to work. We just took a piece off the factory bracket on the throttle body and cut it and made it work. As you can see, we just welded it onto the side of this bracket, and now we have adjustments and everything. We can move it wherever it needs to be, and it works pretty good. We took this thing out and it seemed to be working good. So now to the top of it, we did the same thing. I think these were both pieces of the original bracket, and then as you can see, we got an adjustment here as well to kind of slide it back and forth. And once again, it's just welded on the bottom right here, so that way we can clip this thing in, because he's got like a little clip on him. And I'll show you real quick what I'm talking about with the clip. This is what we had that was on it. As you can see, this is where the TV cable came in, and it just pulled on it essentially. I think it went on this clip here, and it just pulled it down, pulled it out, and this kind of held it, which we just cut this off and welded it onto that other bracket that you seen on the bottom. And then this one over here, we just flipped it over and welded it to the top side, so that way it would work. And I think we took this bracket, I believe it was this one, and we made some slots or something on the top of it to make this work for the top. I'm not 100% sure. I was the one that was doing all that. My dad was doing all that. But pretty sure we used most of the parts off of the throttle body. And as you can see, this throttle body already had a little bit of a spacer on it, so I wasn't too afraid to put a spacer on it. I was a little bit worried about it being kind of laggy or something, like when I hit the throttle, it might take it a second to get all that air, but it seemed like it really didn't care that much. Now, if it was a carburetor, it probably would have, because the fuel would have taken longer to get down there, but it seemed like it still had plenty of low end punch, and it still had a lot more top end, it actually seemed like. But I think a big part of that too is because it's just air, because it's fuel injected. It has the injectors in each cylinder or in the intake runners at the bottom, so it doesn't matter really where you end up with your intake piping. I mean, they can be as long as they need to be. It doesn't really matter as much. But I will say it's a little bit, the throttle body is a little bit big, because if I barely give it throttle, it'll spin the tires a little bit, because it's like so much air all at once, because the throttle volume area is so much bigger that whenever you give it a little bit, it's the equivalent of me giving that like 20%, those little throttle blades. So you can go too big. You don't want to put 102 millimeter on this. If you got a combo like mine of a 92, fits it pretty well. It's a little bit big, but like I said, the advantages it gives me is way better than the disadvantages I have with the other one. It should have plenty of flow whenever it's being boosted. Hopefully, I'll probably have to get bigger injectors, but hopefully it won't matter as much when it's boosted. I'm hoping that when it's pulling a vacuum on it, it'll kind of calm down a little bit on the little throttle inputs, because it'll be going through the intercooler, and hopefully it'll restrict it enough to where opening it a little bit doesn't jerk it as hard. But it's not a big deal. It's just it may get a little bit annoying, but I think it'll fix itself once we get a little bit of a restriction on it whenever we're going through the intercooler and everything. Now once it's in boost, it ain't gonna matter, because I'm gonna be wanting to go fast anyway, so it's not gonna matter to me then. But I'm thinking it'll be okay. Hopefully I can just get used to it. But anyways, I'm kind of rambling on here. So what this is about is this setup costed me $180 altogether. Okay, and then if I were to do it the other way and go buy me a throttle body for a Magnum, it would end up costing, I think it was $300 something for the throttle body itself, and then $200 for one of them blow through hats, I guess you'd call it. And so it'd be a total of like $500. So this combo was $100 for the 90-degree elbow. I think it's $200 if you want to buy it new, but I found one on Facebook Marketplace for $100. So I got that, and then the throttle body was $80. And there's another guy on here that talks about those cheap throttle bodies. I got that one on Amazon. He talks about the difference between the cheap ones and the expensive ones, and it's nothing too crazy. y'all can check out his channel. It's called MRE Motorsports, and he kind of goes over how to make these as good, or where they can handle boost, because that's a problem with these low dollar ones, is they can't really handle boost. They'll start leaking out of the throttle shaft. And check out his video. He goes into detail about it, and it's a great video to watch. Very informative, so y'all go check him out as well. MRE Motorsports is the name of his channel, and I'll put a link down in the description of that specific video. I don't want to take any credit for that, because that's not something that I did. I just wanted to let y'all know about that. You got to put a seal in this throttle shaft in order for it to hold boost. And really, that's the big difference between that one and the real expensive ones. So for me, that was well worth it. I saved about $300 doing it that way. Now, it did take some fabricating, like I said, to make it all work, but to me, it's worth it. And like I mentioned about this, I had to make another little modification here with the thermostat housing. You can see it's got the 90 on it for it to clear, but I'll show you my other one. It's right here. See how high they stick up? That was the problem. I was going to run right into the front of that throttle body, but the other one's got an angle on it. We cut it in half, like right through here, and then kind of turned it around so it was like a 90. I couldn't use this one because it got this bung in it, and this bung was to control my electric fans. Whenever it sees a certain temp, it would open up. To fix that, since we couldn't run a bung on this one because it had such a big 90 on it, we went ahead and tapped it right here where the water pump has a little provision here. What that's supposed to be is the stem pipe for your heater core, which I got rid of a long time ago. So we just tapped it and put our sensor bung in there. So that way now, whenever this sees a certain temp, it'll go to this relay and kick the fans on. But that's all I'm going to go over in this video. If y'all have any questions about that, or you want me to go over something else with it, if I missed anything, please let me know in the comments, and I'll address that in the comments if y'all have any questions. Like I said, I'm going to try to do another video soon on the turbo stuff. Hopefully I can have that video out in the next couple of days or so. And another thing, I'm going to try to do some videos on the tuning, and maybe we can get this thing to the drag strip whenever this is all done. And I'll try to make a video on the first startup so y'all can kind of see where it's at and how it sounds and all that. We are going to have to redo the exhaust system, so it's not going to sound the same, which kind of sucks for me because I like the way it sounded before. But hopefully it sounds better, and maybe with the turbo noises I won't mind that too much. But anyway, y'all please like and subscribe if you like this kind of content, and we'll see you in the next video. So stick around, and we'll be posting another one soon.